on to Berlin for this deciding game in the matchup between Misfits and Splyce. This is it. One team will find themselves in the semifinals, and the loser will have to watch the action in Hamburg from home, or they could take a train, you know, whatever.
It's pretty close to where most of them live.
It is, but it isn't as fun. And we have our first playoff series, and immediately we find ourselves with Silver Scrapes and in Game 5, which is super exciting. Maxor, we've seen a lot. Can you quickly TLDR Game 4 for us so that we can look ahead to Game 5?
Splyce drafted the early game composition, and they fell behind because they got outplayed by Misfits.
All right, well, that was the case, and a lot of that came from the fact that they put priority, or they didn't put priority on bottom lane, and Misfits got their hands on a winning bottom lane, and that seems to be the key going forward in these matchups.
Exactly, and we talked a lot about like how important it is, because when you want to play Cannon, again, if you lose lane, you never become a split pusher, you never have an impact, and they keep drafting Cannon, and obviously they keep putting it in a losing matchup. 4 supports were banned in the last game. I just want to highlight that.
Your tweet is there, by the way.
My tweet is there. Look at that tweet. That tweet is correct.
Please
that
stop
is so
trying to
correct.
make Cannon happen. Cannon's not going to happen.
Unless you're Reckless.
Yeah.
Reckless is the only one who's won on Cannon, AD carry. But anyway, like Thresh, Nautilus, Zyra, Brom are all banned. Lulu was for some reason not banned. They didn't pick Fiddlesticks. And then Lulu Varus happens on the other side, and they get stomped in the lane, lose tower, Cannon is behind. And it's just like, it's the same thing every time, and I'm trying to picture why they're doing it.
It seems like they've been scrimming Fnatic a lot, because
they probably
these
have.
are 2 of the picks that Fnatic have pulled out
and
a lot.
They don't work for Splyce.
No, they don't work for Splyce.
Super simple.
That it is. We'll take a look at some of these highlights for side of Misfits, because we also have to point out the fact that Hansama didn't turn on that Kalista. Now they go for the Varus Lulu, which is great, and they play it out perfectly. And they make so much happen because of the Roam of Power of Evil. Everyone kind of gets going, and it's kind of set in stone there that the game's going to go in Misfits' way.
Yeah, it was a beautiful flash there by Power of Evil to pick up the kill on Fiddlesticks, and then there was a kill after that. This team fight here was set up by Misfits, baiting them into coming towards Nash, and they just won. And Misfits just simply outplayed them, actually, in team fights and macro this game.
And we also have to just look at the fact that Misfits turned this around. They were down 2 games, and now 2 games in a row, they found what works for them.
I just absolutely love that, yeah, Misfits understood after the first 2 games that they need some winning early lanes. And bot lane especially has been key the last 2 games, but also Power of Evil. First he got the Syndra, now he plays LeBlanc. Yes, he sacrifices some CS in lane to go down bot lane to get a kill, but that also sets up the bot lane for more success. So the fact that Power of Evil has actually finally found picks to play in the last 2 games, and the bot lane and the bot lane had winning matchups, has allowed Misfits to actually win the early game 2 games in a row.
Well, these are the picks that we identified as kind of the most influential. We already touched on the Cannon as please don't pick it. The Syndra as, even if you give it over and you have to give up something to get your hands on it, like Senkux did, Power of Evil proved, well, hey, I can also play LeBlanc and do well. So what about the Shen? It has been first picked a couple of times. Why exactly is it this important in the series?
I think Shen is just a really good pick for Misfits. They feel like with Shen, they can win a lot more games. It's a safe pick. If they have a winning bot, it's really easy to win the game like this. So I don't think Splyce will want to pick it up. Splyce might ban it, but I don't really think so because of how Wonderwear was doing in lane. But really, the key component in this game was the fact that there was an answer to Syndra, which there wasn't before. It was Ahri before, and it was kind of useless. Now that LeBlanc adds a new flavor, let's say, to the pick and ban, maybe Syndra needs to be banned by Splyce, or maybe there's just a new pick that's going to come out again.
Yeah, I think Shen's success in the last 2 games is a product of the bot lane being stronger for Misfits, which allows Shen to actually have a role. This last pick and ban phase with the Renekton Elise from Splyce was stomping the top side. Imagine a world where instead of picking Cannon in that last phase to pick Varus, they suddenly have a strong bot lane as well, and this Shen doesn't have anywhere to go, and Splyce might actually win early. So it's all about the bot lane, mid lane for me, and not Shen specifically.
Yeah, what an important pick and ban this is. And just as we go over to the caster, just to remind everybody, Splyce has won 3 very important Game 5s in a best of 5 in their LCS career. 2016 Spring promotion tournament to qualify for LCS, the semifinals of the playoffs last summer versus H2K to get into the final, and the gauntlet run to get them into Worlds. So they definitely have a momentum here, and they have that experience up against Misfits. Will that be the deciding factor here, or do you guys want to change your prediction, Maxlor?
I still think that if Splyce, like, you can just see from the players' look after that game, the bot lane, they're not feeling that great about what happened this game. And maybe teams have realized that there's a 0-3 like win-loss ratio with Cannon in this series. So maybe the 5th game might be like the best draft from both teams after adapting so much to each other, seeing what each other play. And I still think Splyce will win just because they are better in macro.
I agree. I think Splyce will change up the pick and ban phase. Wonder will become the MVP, and they will win.
All right, we will see if that happens. We will soon have a winner in the series as we send it over to our casters for Game 5.
Thank you very much, Shocks. I'm ready. I can feel it. This is going to be an insane game. Now,
so is the crowd.
Crowd's ready. Good to hear. I feel like we learned in this series that Misfits can come back, that going down 0-2 at the start of a series isn't the end for them. But now Splyce lost 2 games back-to-back. Can we say the same about them? We're going to find out here. So we enter picks and bans for the final game of the series. Place in the semifinals on the line, a place in Hamburg on the line for both of these lineups.
Well, the questions from the analyst desk were, how much are Splyce going to shift up their pick and ban phase? There's a lot of talk around this Kennen in particular. We've had some great discussions about the value of Syndra. I think that what we've seen is, first you need to take power of evil off a champion that he can roam with. And okay, you're also now giving room for Splyce to first pick themselves the Elise. I wonder if Misfits, whether or not they ban it, because you also then leave Graves open for Trashy to pick up.
I think if you're Splyce here, you may still just stick to the Syndra though. You still go for the Elise here, okay.
So now do you go for the Graves Syndra rotation, or do Misfits say we've got an answer for Syndra in the form of LeBlanc, so we may very well just allow you to have it?
Potentially. Misfits, knowing them so far in the series, they were locking like Shen on this type of rotation, right? First game they did on 3rd, I think, on the purple side, but now they can definitely lock in an early Shen here. Keep that power up going, but I definitely agree with the Fisher. I don't think Shen was anywhere near an issue. It's really just him having another side of the map where he could go to, because he was getting dumpstered in that top side.
Look at it now. Will be the Graves first picked. Will they opt to go for another top laner here? Will they take the Syndra away, even when they've shown more depth in the champion pool of Power of Evil? Really taking their time on this rotation.
Yeah. If they're locking the Shen, I want to see the Renekton again. I think it worked very well for Splyce, and there's no reason for them not to go for that play again. They just need to play sustain and just survive on the bottom side of the map. So you could go as far as saying, you know what, play Varus. Pick Varus, Renekton here. And then feel out the other few picks.
It would give them a lot more wave clear during the mid game, and they have that nice scaling too. You'd also have the question mark of what mid would you tie up with the Varus. Naturally, you have the Syndra availability. Are they going to do it though?
This. Oh.
I mean, there's still nothing wrong with that lane. They made a misplay and they got roamed on. Not with the Braum. I definitely don't like the Braum, but like the Kennen itself, yeah, while it has low impact, like the Dougal ganked by a level 4 LeBlanc, that wasn't probably called miss, you know? That is the issue. But it takes, takes me back to the semi-final versus HK,
yes,
5 games on Nar, where we kept blaming Prawley for not adapting. At what point does confidence in your team become hubris? And at what point does Yamato need to adapt? Sadly, which of the two it is, we will only get judged on the series, and people will be like, if they win, yeah, man, Yamato, what a great coach, believing in his players. And if he loses, bah, what a bad drafter, Kennen 0-4 in the series.
And this is such a huge risk. It's not like taking a late game scaling champion and giving up the early game, right? Kennen, it feels like all or nothing. If he gets into that late game, he's just not going to have the same level of impact, and that's so rough for Splyce to deal with if they fall behind again.
Now, the LeBlanc pick, the reason why they picked it here is because they want to save their bottom lane again for the second half of the draft, which they've done fairly consistently, but you're actually giving Splyce a lot of room for counter pick options. Remember that Misfits had the opportunity to get the first rotation on mid laners, so they could have actually pinched the mid lane pool and guaranteed a more successful mid lane, but alternatively, they're just going to start banning those away and make sure that LeBlanc can have the most favorable matchup possible.
Yeah, and is this Splyce going to ban out Thresh Varus here? Then to hopefully play into like a non-Thresh Kalista lane and not having to play into that annoying Varus from Hansama.
Adaptation still coming in despite the similarity in picks thus far. Still some time for Splyce to consider what top laner they want to take, what mid laner, maybe flex the Kennen into the top side of the map.
We have to remember that you can do that as well. Kennen into Shen is a really good matchup early on, and if you build a split push path, it will consistently throughout the game be able to match Shen off in a side lane. The problem I have is that weaker team fight value.
Yeah, it's quite... the Braum actually solves that problem. If you go for 80 Kennen top and you look at Elise in the jungle, you're like, we don't have enough tanky front line, but Braum combined with Elise is enough to solve that problem. Allows you to stall and buy some time for fights too. Get rid of the Caitlyn.
Yeah, taken away. They don't want to give up any of those later scaling picks. They don't want to give up the traps to kind of interrupt a lot of the options here. Rise taken off the board as well. Syndra, despite the success that Power of Evil found, banned away.
You could do a Varus Zyra here if you're Misfits. It would lane very nicely into the Braum Kennen, but it would also add a lot of teamfight value to the composition of Misfits as well.
Yeah, I would also like Varus Tahm Kench here. Honestly, Tahm Kench is the most annoying champion to play against if you're AD Kennen and if you're Braum, and even more annoying if you're both.
How they get the chance to round out their composition. We'll see where Splyce wants to assign.
I bets, gentlemen. Well,
Lucian.
all bets are off. Yes, Kennen top lane.
Or is it Lucian top lane? Okay, yeah, Kennen top lane. Victor coming in as well. Splyce. Big shift in what they're trying to do this time around.
Still tricky to play Lucian on the side lane though, so they're definitely opting in for a 4-1 in the mid game.
Yeah.
They need to get Wunder ahead. It is paramount for Splyce's victory that Wunder gets that lead. And Misfits, all the eyes will be on shutting Wunder down in the top lane and hoping to hold.
Oh, of course. Lulu, I actually think is very good, especially against the picking power that Splyce do have.
They picked themselves a losing bot lane matchup. The only way you win is if you all in the Varus and you need to get to him with flashing aggressively almost. Especially now that Exhaust isn't really as strong of a tool either.
A part of me would actually prefer that Kennen to be AP. I think that it would be a stronger teamfight composition overall from Splyce. And come the mid game, they'd actually do reasonably well. But I'm very confident that Wunder will go more towards the split push style, and their team fighting will really struggle, which is why I'm wondering about this Victor pick. Like, during lane, he can do fine into LeBlanc, especially given the recent nerfs and how well, if he actually takes 2 points in his Q early on, you have enough in your shield to be trade fairly evenly with LeBlanc. But I feel like the fact that he can't go off to a side lane and the fact that his main focus is in team fights, which his composition isn't really built around, I think Senkus is going to struggle to have a huge impact.
Final words from each of the coaches as we get ready for Game 5 here. Our first quarterfinal in the EU LCS. Misfits, the top 4 team during the regular season. Will they remain in the top 4? Not if Splyce get their way. Hashtag SPY win, hashtag MSF win, depending on where your loyalties lie. It's all or nothing. It is do or die here in Game 5.
Quite the intense music too.
Yeah, man. It's getting me really hyped. I'm excited. One of these teams go to Hamburg, one of these teams go home, and it's all come down to this. 5 games between Misfits and Splyce.
Here we go. See the compositions, the players, the focus on their faces.
And Kakao on the Graves, how's he gonna do? Is he gonna yield as much jungle usually? Probably not, right? Much stronger pick right there into the Elise. And the momentum is still on the side of Misfits. Let's not forget how destroyed Splyce looked after that Game 4 loss.
Everything came together in Game 3 and Game 4 for Misfits. They outplayed, outmaneuvered Splyce on each and every angle. Now here in the final game, can Splyce take something back? Can they show us the same form we witnessed in Game 1 and Game 2? Or will they get reverse swept at the hands of a young organization?
And it'll all start with the matchup featured on the analyst desk, opening up Trashy versus Kakao. The jungle pathing and the jungle start will tell us so much. Where is Trashy going to put his focus? Bot start into top gank? AD Kennen is similar to Renekton in terms of punishing power. Or is it top start into bot lane gank? Relieve some pressure off this Braum Lucian, get them to level 6. Potentially win that lane.
Chain the CC, use the power of the concussive blows with the light slinger from Kabi. Just lock up the CC. Maybe hope to give an advantage to this bot lane that may otherwise lose the laning phase.
And for Kakao, he has a pushing lane mid with the LeBlanc early on. He also should have the ability to push up down bot. So you would expect him to move towards the bottom half of the enemy's jungle. Given his current path, it could be risky for him to go for an invade, so I expect him maybe to just stick to his own jungle rather than go for any kind of an invade.
Yeah, probably a fast clear for him. Also, there's no really good place to go for him. Kabi and Mickey, first Qs go wide here. I don't think it's wise for them to challenge. They're just going to eat a lot of poke, and then Misfits are still going to equal out the push. Because if you're Braum, it looks good right now, unless you get the double tap here.
Decent start, Exhaust coming out, traded in the end. Trying to get the CC down on the Hansama. Both
Misfits
sides
should be able to fight back this push because both relic stacks have been used already. But this ultra aggression from Splyce, somehow working out. But the next wave is much harder for Mickey to walk up, because you want to get to 9 creeps, so 3 melee is what you want. And now Mickey can no longer hit these creeps, right? That's the problem. If you invest everything on lane 1, especially the relic stacks, then Misfits can take more pressure, second wave.
Now, gentlemen, while this bot lane interaction is extremely important, we talked about the junglers. Look at them. Kakao, already level 3. He actually decided to do a top clear into an invade. And I don't know if he knows about Trashy's location.
Maybe hoping to get something down. Power Vivo leaping forward. CC coming in onto Senkux. He's going to be in trouble. Flash forward. Barrier comes out, but the red buff is ticking. Kakao running forward. Storm Raider Surge propelling him into Senkux. Not going to take the risk in the end.
Kakao actually flashed in there.
Yeah.
So that's just a flash trade, and Senkux loses the barrier, but survives. I have to commend Splyce. Early laning phase, it's a really bold strategy. If you miscalculate that push they did early on, or you mis-execute that, the lane is over. Like, if you do not get to level 2 on the same creep, playing it that way they did, like, you just simply get butchered.
And maybe now that the pressure is on, we're finally seeing the Splyce that are rumored in scrims. The aggressive, insanely confident form of this team.
Level 3, now the dash to creep for Q and into double tap is back. And honestly, this lane plays so different, whether it gets pushed or has the push itself, and major props to Kobe and Mickey for making that happen.
Well, while we focus on the top side, Trashy's focusing on the top, rather, bottom side. Going forward, Trashy.
Going for Shen.
For a little bit more, is going to take a tower shot. Will now try to leap to safety, but here comes PoE. Connects to Shane, looking for more. Another first blood for Power of Evil.
That was so good from Power. He used his dash to reposition. He knew that Trashy had already burned his flash and noticed that he had gotten in front, or he may have even cleared out the Spiderlings with his W, which meant that Trashy, he had no guard away from the chains. Then he just added the Q for insult to injury. Now that's a double buff LeBlanc already in the mid lane. This is exactly how game 3 started for Misfits.
And look at Kakao, he's circling around again. Now you're going to see Power Evil likely dash in. Senkux is under so much pressure, and he's very much so overextended, but he goes back just in time.
Double buff, smoke screen, end of the line. Not going to land any damage on Senkux, and he's going to walk away okay. But still, things look pretty grim in the early game. Cannot afford to give that first blood to LeBlanc.
Now, just think about the mental strain that first gank has put onto Splyce. Not only has that first kill gone over to LeBlanc, but this is a reminiscence of what we started to see in Game 4 in favor of Misfits. Splyce already looked demoralized after that loss, and now their early game jungler is at a deficit.
And more importantly, their swingy matchup in the Kennen versus Shen has also been put in a deficit due to, honestly, a mistake from Trashy. He went too close, went for the repel up, expecting there to be a creep to go out, but there was no creep to jump to. And he went too close to third. If he did, it would have just landed in place.
Or if he just flashed after the taunt, right? Like,
yeah, obviously, but he had already repelled, so it was like a double mistake. Kakao and Power of Evil here, guys. This is a 3-man dive onto a Kennen. Kennen wants to be the diver.
Only 5 minutes into the game, the wave starts to build. Wonder, doesn't look like he's going to get level 6 in time. Taunt goes in, CC. What? No, dead in the end. Power of Evil just launched down the chain.
2 full waves being denied here of Wonder. 1,000 gold in the lead already on Misfits. Trashy walking in, cannot stop Power of Evil's base either.
This is not the start that Splyce wanted. Misfits just look better and better after every game.
And this is the Misfits of old. This is the Misfits playstyle that we praised them for during the middle of the regular season, where Power of Evil would be on Aroma. He would move with his jungler to get leads for players like Alfari, for players like Hansama. And we're seeing it once again. Misfits throughout this series have grown phenomenally. And right now, they're in a very favorable position 6 minutes into the game.
Yeah, back to the roots. Very tenacious, going 0-2 down, but not giving up. So that's props to the players and the coaching staff. And they're also hungry. Like, these guys, they've been practicing the entire season for this moment, where other players kind of take leisurely times off, which is fine, by the way. There's nothing wrong with actually having a somewhat healthy life and taking a day off. You would look at the Misfits guys, they would always be at home, all in that room, playing solo queue. These guys have done nothing else except literally just grind the game for the last 2 or 3 months to arrive at a 0-2 in a best of 5, and now are about to turn it all around.
To arrive in a 0-2, to bring it back, as you said, to turn it around, the confidence coming out, despite the pressure that they may have put on themselves. It's a good thing to see from a young roster and a young team.
Young roster, but some of older players here. Kakao, one of the best players in the world at times. You know, one of the best junglers, if not the best jungler for a period of time. in seasons gone by. Now looking for former glory. Power of Evil as well. Struggled an entire year, you know. Now he's finally getting his redemption.
Yeah, Power of Evil's been in the LCS since 2015. People may not have realized this. This guy has been around for a while. Unicorns have loved to Origin, now to Misfits. There are a fair number of veterans on this Misfits lineup tied in with the rookies who have only grown throughout the split. And now Misfits, they're looking to extend their lead even further as they look for a roam down bot.
Push in, group with the jungle. He eventually gets the red buff, which takes the roam 30 seconds extra, which means the enemy bot lane backs off. They spot PoE in the mid lane or again, so now Kobe and Mickey can play, but they're playing under pressure and they can't play the aggressive Braum style that they want to.
Power Eagle fearlessly leaps forward, looks to set up the CC, looks to get something down, but it's not going to amount to anything. However, the pressure is still very clearly in his favor. The small CS lead for Senkux doesn't matter much when he's got the 2 kills.
And Splyce need to hold on because they're playing at a teleport disadvantage. Wunder can only stop the Shen. Misfits know this. Oh, look at the poke from Alfari. They can take objectives on the bottom side of the map, and they could technically make a play here with Stan United.
In the meantime, Kakao just starts to cut down the Infernal Drake, taking his time to solo this one out. Just going to make it that much harder the later and later we move into the game as well. And the lane pressure for the bot side of the map transitions into more support for these objectives.
Now bear in mind, even with the early deficit to Splyce, Wunder can still outscale the Shen. He will, if he gets to like 3-4 items, he can be this prominent split pusher that can deal with the Shen and exert a lot of pressure, similar to what he did on the Renekton in Game 4, but it's going to take him time to get to that point. He still sits on a fairly healthy CS lead, but at this point, it becomes very difficult to be able to dive Alpha. He is level 8 now, he's got a fair amount of armor underneath his belt, and so that snowball that we talked about in the early game isn't as possible, but that doesn't mean that Wunder's completely out of the game yet.
No, and Misfits' tight grip on the early game is softening just a bit as Senkux gets a blue buff, a Negatron cloak, and both as a summoner's back. So he can definitely play into this LeBlanc, which means Power Evil will have fewer roams to his disposal. We're also looking at a level 6 power spike on Lucian and Braum here with a Cutlass and now a recurve both finished. Both bot lanes eerily similar in their item builds. That's a fakie.
He doesn't know, Greppo.
Yep.
I hate that. It's so annoying.
I think he knows, but you just, in the off chance that you're wrong,
Yeah.
you still run.
What if the fake is in the mid?
Thank God you can't actually do that, for the record. But moving forward, Power of Evil still trading aggressively. CS is even, and as you mentioned, the Negatron Cloak, yeah, it's not going to give Victor a ton of damage in the coming fights, but we will make sure that he can keep up and farm and survive in this laning phase. And despite all of Alfari's early aggressive trades, Wunder finally starting to get some in his favor on the top side.
And now you actually, if you're a Braum and you can get a Lulu to match your roam, it's actually beneficial because Lucian is a laner that can always solo the opposing champion. Nearly every matchup he wins 1v1. You can just get the jump on Hansama without Ignore present. We need to look for it. Kobe may actually go for one of those plays soon. Bit of a Hail Mary.
Senkux doing his best to hold on to the waves. Sigil procced onto Senkux, ready to go. Power wants to continue the dive, just threatening.
Yeah, the reason we bring up these control wards seems a bit of a random stat for a lot of people is that throughout the season, Splyce and Misfits ranked respectively, I think 10th and 8th, or the other way around. They were both very low in control wards placed. So vision was a major issue. A lot of these games in the mid game have been decided around pretty efficient Baron dances on both sides. So that's definitely a weakness they have shored up for the playoffs.
Power of Evil hoping to catch a Scuttle Crab, but inconvenient timing. Will spot out Trashy, however. Decent damage goes down.
Yep.
Ooh, nice.
Really good addition that you can always repel out. It gives at least much more safety in the jungle.
So again, we see Power of Evil moving with Kakao. What am I talking about? Kakao's in the jungle. Moving towards the top half of the map.
He cancelled the back in the mid lane. I see Draco's like ponders, like, why is he using ulti? Just to poke out Senkux and put pressure. Wonderful vision, yep. They're just messing with him because they're setting up a roam in the bot lane right now. This is not for mid lane turret. They're cancelling him 3-4 times. Gotta be careful now though. So, because now Braum's here all of a sudden.
One stack gonna go down for the concussive blows.
And this is mid lane priority, and then Power Evil can base or teleport or just walk into any part of the map that he wants to because Victor is pressured so much.
Yeah. This is the value of being able to push, because now Power of Evil can go back, she can buy, and she can teleport down to the bottom lane, or she can look to roam top. The result of that whole play means that Senkux has to catch this wave.
He did get spotted on a ward though, so they should be aware here, but I don't see any pings.
Yeah, there are no pings.
They should have seen him.
Taunt misses. Spirit Refuge used. And Wunder running now to safety. PoE going to try to block some damage with the clone. Leaps in anyway, wants to get aggressive here. Flash comes out, Power of Evil still going to live.
Really nice dive from Power of Evil, utilizing the clone to initially tank up the damage, and then throwing out the full burst combo, knowing that Alfari's ultimate was ready and waiting. Again, another Power of Evil special, now 3-0-0 on the LeBlanc.
We did not see the pings from Splyce. We obviously don't know their communication, but it seemed to me like Wunder was very much so surprised.
I mean, you just have to assume. Otherwise, he would have left the tower, backed out, ran to safety. He burns his flash into play, which means he could not have been expecting to die. Does now have the Blade of the Rune King. It's a small boon, but...
I mean, he uses Lightning. This is... If you know LeBlanc's coming, you don't lose Lightning Rush because it gives you extra resistances and the ability to dodge.
Well, gonna have to keep our attention there. Ignar in trouble. Exhaust going down on Akabi, but out comes the Coaling. Ignar, will he drop? Blade of the Rune King used up. Ignar trying to flash to safety. Kabi leaps forward, goes in.
The greedy flash from Ignar. He goes all the way low enough for Kabi then to flash and give him a nice little Q double left tap. It's a big move here. Now it's the Splyce bot lane finally pulling ahead. The last two games, Misfits, they won based off pressure that was coming out of the bottom lane, but Mickey and Kabi drafting this Ground Lucian, turning that story upside down.
This will be a big confidence booster for Splyce. They've now moved Trashy to the bottom lane as well. They're looking to get some damage down onto this tower. How can Misfits answer?
Which has to be careful.
Forward, Senkux needs to run to safety. Jane connects, he's locked up. Honeyfruit to buy a bit of time. Down goes the gravity field, not enough. End of the line, gonna take it.
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt you there, Crepo, but I think that's what we're talking about. Senkux getting caught out. Power of Evil, he's been roaming around this map with Kakao a lot during the early game, and this is going to stymie a lot of the push from Splyce down in the bottom lane. I was doubtful of this Victor pick during the draft, and so far, with all the pressure that Kakao's been exerting, Senkux is not having the same sort of laning phase that he would have liked.
Yeah, Victor's strong on his lane, but obviously you can't go blind into River, and this is this point in the game where you can see a lot of information from the minimap, but right now, looking around in the studio, there is more information to read just off the faces of the Splyce players. Senkux, after that play, he went to full facepalm because, like, he's trying to match his LeBlanc roam, right? But you need to take a safe path. You can't go blind into River unless you see enemy jungle. He uses his flash too, and he just sinks a little lower in his chair. And he's just under so much pressure right now.
Has to feel bad. From dominating the mid lane matchup in the first two games to slowly getting picked apart now that Power of Evil has his hands in this LeBlanc.
There are still a lot of gains for Splyce, though. There's a lot of chip damage gone down onto this tier 1, a lot of chip damage going down onto this tier 2 in the bottom, and Splyce are looking for a possible dive top.
Cocoon goes wide. Malfari was set up to be dived, but Ignar is here to save the day.
Keep your eyes on Power of Evil on the River. He's looking to collapse. Misfits are looking to trade something for the turret. They're losing in the bottom lane. Splyce need to run.
Probably just looking to clear the wave. They know they have the time to take down the tower. Want to potentially set up to take the next one as well. Now moving forward. What is the next move for this side? What is the next move for this lineup? Misfits looking for the tower trade. Splyce just backing off in the meantime.
But they can go mid. They can put like 3 members mid and then rotate towards the tier 2 in the bottom lane. They need to do something here. Senkux can't pressure alone, so he needs help. He's going for the blue buff. PoE could just disappear here and show up in the bottom lane. That's 2 Brahms. WTF?
Tower not going to fall, however, as Alfari.
We're not in an OGM
control.
blind pick final.
Guys,
it's a game
don't
5.
worry.
There are, in fact, only 1 Shen.
Yep.
Rest in peace, blind pick game 5.
But it will result in a tower-for-tower trade, Splyce versus Misfits. This swap was necessary for Misfits because that top tower was getting heavily chunked out, and they knew that after the kill, especially in bottom lane, that they were going to lose that tower anyway. So rather than delay the inevitable, they just at least get something in return. And now the lane assignments happen once again. Dragon is still available, and I wonder whether or not they just move Power of Evil off. Well, I feel like it would be better if you move Power to the bot side, you have Shen up top, and then you have the wave clear in mid, but it's going to be difficult with Power of Evil going up into the bottom lane of Splyce.
Splyce is splitting the map right now. They're playing for top turret. Wunder wants to get side lane priority. I think we'll always see Trashy hug around Wunder's side to maybe make a pick on whoever defends. And the Solution Braum combo is actually quite potent in duels.
At the end of the day, the game's so even.
Ooh, this is actually really interesting. Look at bot lane. We're looking at a 2v4 plus potentially Shen. So if Kabi and Wunder and Trashy want to stay, they need to stall. They're backing off right now. And now the tricky shot calling starts. Do Splyce go mid? Trade tier 1 mid lane for bot tier 2. Can PoE make a pick and everybody moving around? They're stopping for Raptors. Is that not a bit of a waste? Trashy is about to get poked out by LeBlanc on the minimap.
Alfari potentially in trouble. Chain CC coming in. Coling goes down. Spirit's Refuge not going to block that damage. Kabi considering to lead forward. Taunt goes down. He's under the tower. Maybe not exactly where he wanted to be. Now running to safety. Alfari has the bot lane split. Alfari has the bot lane low. Leaps in onto Mickey X. He wants one. He wants to get two, but the exhaust, it's going to be enough. Kabi's going to take him down.
Really well played from Splyce's bottom lane. Alfari trying to go for the hero outplay, but isn't quite able to get it.
Man, it was actually the clone earlier. It was not the actual LeBlanc looking for Trashy here, which means Misfits are so far below or behind on the play here. Constellation Clown Drake, but what a beautifully executed dive there by Mickey and Kabi. Their confidence is slowly coming back in this game 5.
It's good to see the shift. Good to see the team, both teams, playing on form. Power of Evil being the man to roam. Kakao helping him set up the plays. But Wonder struggling on these top lane picks. But the bot lane that has been sacrificed for so many of these games, now finding a lead for themselves.
Misfits have a lot of deep vision down in the bottom half of Splyce's jungle. Mid lane is their focus. You can see a lot of the pings coming out. Victor, fun interactive champion.
You're not going to siege on a Victor. This is a mistake a lot of teams make. Once they switch back to the bottom side, they forget that enemies are just to still be in their jungle, and Wonder is experiencing exactly that.
So much damage. Down goes.
And what's he supposed to do? He has no vision in his jungle. They keep swapping up the sides of the map, but he needs to start putting side lane pressure. If he waits for all the information, it's too late. It's a gamble. And Wonder essentially dies. He gives it that turret, and now Misfits looking to defend their mid lane turret.
They do have Hand Summer there. He's got enough wave clear, but look at the positioning of Mickey. Blocking the main wave clear tool. Can Misfits force a flank?
TP coming in from the Shen. Where is he going to go? Where will the taunt land? Alfari just for now, just trying to retreat and goes. The Winner's Bite. No follow-up on the concussive blows. It will just be the disengage.
So now the bottom lane is pushing in favor of Splyce. That's going to slowly start working their way towards Misfits half of the map. A top lane push has been started, and Misfits should just use this to try and gain some control over the top half of Splyce's jungle.
Yeah, we do see another reason to pick that Brahma by Mickey. Much easier to find where LeBlanc is flanking from and then play with the shield here. We see that dive repeated. The zone from the W from Shen was already down after all the damage kind of came out, right? And also Alfari was very late. And then the reset here. I love the communication because it's so easy for Mickey to panic flash out. His AD carry is telling him, I have heal, I'm coming. Then gets healed and then flashes. I'm not sure how much communication that was or just in time.
Oh no, rinse and repeat. Wonder desperate to get something back, but it's all too easy for Power of Evil. Oh, Splyce.
You need wards in your jungle, or you need your jungler there to assist you.
What are you talking about? Misfits have plenty of wards in their jungle. And that's one of the reasons as to why they can so regularly get these picks down onto Wonder. Now we're seeing a bit of a contest around the red buff.
Power of Evil just picking off members left and right. In comes the Shen ultimate. Can he chase any further? Doesn't look like it. But Misfits very much in control of this game. And this is a sizable lead for them.
Yeah, the next 3 minutes are crucial for Splyce because they have teleport advantage and a strong side laner in Cannon. They need to find a way to use it. Wonder could no longer afford to get picked off one more time. This is the key moment, but he's already 0-4. Looking to mimic that Teemo performance he had in week 10. But this time he's not actually trolling.
And this is grim, because when we look at what the analyst has talked about, they say, hey, Wonder, he's going to come back, he's going to be on carries, he's going to round out this series. Well, he's on a carry, but he's not coming back. 0-4-0, grim fate so far.
But he needs sideline pressure, and maybe the problem is with AD Cannon, you can't really use your teleport as aggressively, but still, 5v4 is a 5v4. Look how scared he is. He's backing off. This is not the Wonder that we're used to seeing. Wonder was always pushing this wave out. Look at his bottom wave. It's going to be a really slow push there for Splyce. He's joining his team right now. He's going to play team fight Cannon.
Compare this to his Renekton game, where he lived in Misfits half of the map. He was always forcing Alfari underneath his turret, always winning out on extended trades, and making it difficult for Misfits to really make any kind of play around the map at all.
And this is all because of Power Evil's LeBlanc. This is 2 games in a row right now. He is making a major option for MVP in this series in the way he's dominating game 4 and 5.
It's just been so crisp, so clean, time and time again. The roams. I mean, early game, level 4, pre-level 6 LeBlanc. Level 6 comes around, he starts to roam even further. Overall, just a dominating performance thus far. You can see weighing heavy on Yamato Cannon as it is on the team at this particular moment.
Just nothing he can do. All the previous games he had to watch.
Oh, by Kabi, not what you wanted. Power of Evil wants to keep the ball rolling, looking to go a little bit further on to Senkux. Wonder Not going to get anything back.
We've talked so much about the vision control for Misfits in the bottom half of Splyce's jungle. Time after time, we have seen Wonder getting picked off. Cobby, he thought he was taking the safe route, but he didn't realize that even that part of his jungle was in control of Misfits, and that is another pick going towards the red team.
And this is why Kennen AD carry has seen so much flack, because when it fails in such a brutal manner, because nobody can deal with the silence right now. Misfits, they're essentially sieging the base at 23 minutes of the game. They're getting away with it.
Exactly where they want to be. No one can contest Power of Evil. A 5-0-2 LeBlanc, 22 minutes into the game. Lich Bane, Gunblade, insane burst damage. Extra spells. Misfits are playing so well right now. Power of Evil in his element, and I feel like this is a form of Power of Evil we have never seen in his history as a mid laner.
Ooh. Think of the... This is the guy who had the wonky Orianna build. It seems like you forget the unicorns, my friend.
What? Do you not remember the on-hit Kayle, the smite blue Ezreal mid, the on-hit Orianna?
Just because this man could never play Rise did not mean he could play any other champions.
But this is definitely a meta that has suited the Power of Evil.
A team that has suited the Power of Evil.
That's very true as well, and I thought that early on in this series, his champion pool was being limited. He wasn't being given the freedom. But he has certainly found the champion that is working for him.
It's a good time. Now the AD carry picks Varus. He never has to touch it again. He plays the champions he wants to play.
Pick me Varus, it's a flex. Psych. Get me LeBlanc. But yes, Power of Evil. And I love redemption stories because it's so easy to write off a player. Everybody's like, yeah, Power of Evil had one good split, and now he's washed up in Origin. And put in Peke, put in Peke, put in Peke. Like, can you imagine what this guy has gone through last year on a struggling like Origin and just not playing well? Team was not the greatest environment, according to him afterwards. And then he always had the risk of getting replaced with his legacy mid laner that literally everybody likes. Like, I mean, yeah, have you seen his face? You know?
How can you not like him?
Yeah.
Power of Evil may have to consider. Ooh.
Snapping back to reality with the Shen this time.
Leaping forward again. He is fearless, not even worried about the 4 stack on that concussive blows. Leaping in, flash out from Mickey. Ansama on the way. Ult goes wide. Coling comes out. This could be a turn from Splyce. A lot of low health bars, but Power still on the front line. Cobby doing what he can to dish out damage. Now comes the redemption. Mickey's still gonna live.
Hey, where did Wunder teleport to? We saw teleport channeled. He went mid lane to walk to the top lane. Very peculiar movement here. I think Misfits were anxious because they saw Wunder maybe channel teleport on the map. We did, but he arrived just in the mid lane.
And Misfits, they were very close to setting up what could have been a very big team fight win. But the response from Splyce was very good. Senkux was actually in a prime position to turn that fight very swiftly around. The Misfits with a very strong disengage. Buy a little bit more time. No one ends up dropping. No one ends up losing control around the Baron area. But that Baron is becoming ever bigger. Senkux.
He's in trouble. More damage getting dished out. Taking his time. Mickey gonna block as he looks for the retreat. Arrow locked up and taken out. But constant pressure coming out from Misfits. You can't even back safely on your own side of the map. Baron potentially the center of their attention. 25 minutes in. Completely dark. TP. Mickey moving his way forward. What can they do to contest? Splyce on the way, but Wonder's too far away. He has no TP. Copy getting sold out on the side. Power of Evil has to be careful, has to respect the Lucian. In comes Trashy, with the Baron still ticking down in the meantime. Misfits, what will the call be? The call is to turn on to Mickey. The Baron's starting to reset, Hell starting to go forward. Copy looking for a way in.
And this time it's a different POV, because like, a lot of people commenting on the build, but I believe he went Zonia second last game, but this time it is actually just a Gunblade into the Lich Bane, and then you get the disgusting spike from LeBlanc, because it's one shot with the auto at the end that you want. And Faker runs it.
If he'd been able to kill Cobby, which he may do now.
Ooh. A little bit more flash forward, looking to kill Cobby, leaps back out.
The resistances from the Braum W. Just
no, the Braum shield blocking the auto.
Oh, did it actually block? Oh, it blocked the auto as well. I see. Damn. I thought
the resistances.
Two of them are.
It absorbed.
I thought that I'd give it because like I saw the proc on the passive, so I thought that would have been enough, especially from the empowered ult. And I didn't see him block the ultimate damage, but you're right. Like it's the pass, the auto.
It was both.
Yeah,
it was the resistances and
exactly,
the shield.
Yeah, it was everything. That's why they have 2 color casters.
No, it's really hard to spot. That's how fast it goes.
Well,
And a giant image is displayed here on the damage graph. Power Reveal sending a clear message
I don't want to tell you what that looks like.
to the Splyce team here for those first 2 games.
Power Evil. I mean, on a tear thus far. Forcing summoners out every single
I think
fight.
we get to
Okay, yeah, we
conclusive
can
evidence.
watch in slow-mo, right?
Flash.
Is that an auto?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it's an
it's not
auto,
the
gets
auto,
blocked.
yeah.
But he also, he did get the resistances, so I think we're both right, Ready?
High five. Good job.
Not only was he saved, the resistances helped him feel safe. And feeling safe is important as an AD character.
I don't think he's going to feel too safe, though, because that LeBlanc could be...
I mean, he did blow Flash.
Oh, okay,
make
so
safety.
is Power Evil, his only options right now are Loon's Echo or Death Cap.
Yeah, I should definitely go Ludens, no?
It would definitely help with the wave clear, and I think...
I mean, champion clear?
It'll help with the wave clear, and it'll also... It's just better because you don't have enough AP to make full utilization out of the Death Cap as well. So.
How many extra ratios can you give this champion? Gunblade active, Lichbane proc, Luden's Echo. Just balancing out those nerf LeBlanc
Rapid
ratios.
fire cannon.
Get the sprinkly icy stuff. I always forget the name.
Mickey backing up, needs to be careful. Looks like he will get taken down. Has already used the Unbreakable. Redemption coming down to heal up the vast majority of the damage. But
This
no
was
one
a
dropping point
fight
yet.
without Power of Evil. That was the biggest point here, and Victor used all his ultimates. Mickey needs to stay alive because he's the one that has to absorb these projectiles from Power of Evil, but he's not sure. He's walking around with this kind of door in front of him. It's like, how many projectiles do I want to take?
I can block the first one, but after that, I think I'll die still.
Guys, this is a team environment here. Mickey dropping super low. He has the base, which means the wards are going to the base too.
This is one of those LeBlanc games where you really wish you had Ignite. That extra bit of damage would have resulted in more kills, but he is still playing for the team. Teleport is on cooldown for the time being for Power of Evil, so that's why he's grouping up much more. And Misfits, they're keeping the push on the mid lane, which means that they're constantly maintaining vision control around the River of Baron, and this is their main focus. With so many towers down for Splyce, this is the big fight that Misfits need to have.
However, if Splyce can find another opportunity to try to force something when Power of Evil is not in the area, maybe they can take a fight, because things did look relatively even. May not be enough, however, as Misfits just continue to slowly but surely take absolute control.
Yeah, but the map is getting really dark. This is what Splyce sees currently. They have a few vision, or a bit of vision on the Nashor, but they don't know where PoE could be. He could be at the entrance of your Raptors in your jungle. He could be literally anywhere on the right side of the map. He could be in that brush on the left side. You don't know if you're Splyce, and that's the problem. Like, that's where he is. He's at the Raptors, trying to make a kill. Like, do you expect him here? No, Wunder doesn't.
Wonder, is he done? No, Power of Evil backing off, but that is double Infernal, double Cloud now to the side of Misfits. Not only are they fast enough to chase you down, they've got the extra damage to kill you as well.
The Misfits, they have had exceptional Dragon control, at least in the last 3 games, and once again they've managed to ascertain all 4 of the Drakes this game. Now that is Elder, a very big win condition for them, but the Baron returns to be the main focal point. Ignar
Potentially in trouble here. Out comes the ulti for Varus. Ignar still going to live. Does cost him the Shen ult in the end, but Kakao manages to take down Trashy. Now moving forward, now looking for a bit more. Kabi has to be safe. Alfari on the front lines, blocking the shots coming in. Mickey going to get taken down. That's going to make it all too easy for the LeBlanc. Mickey living for now. Will he make it in with the redemption? No! Now moving to the backside, there's Wonder! With the exhaust is down, that's not an AP cannon, and that means the damage is nowhere to be found. Hansama moving forward. Kabi still alive and well. Multiple members with low health bars. What can he do? Can he save the day? Spirit's Refuge used. At the end of the day, still a trade in the favor of Misfits.
It looked so good for just a second, and it actually makes me wonder if it's even worth it for a cannon to play that way in a fight, if you're an AD cannon. But Kobe is trying his heart out to win these fights, but it's so hard for him to get the damage in, especially at the end when Alfari drops that zone down. But Misfits as a team, look at how they work together. They find Trashy. He's essentially the one making the pick. They immediately just blow him up. Nowhere Pelt comes out. Alfari has been on point with his Stand United as well. Not wasting it too early, but using it in time. Taunt Flash as well connects. Everything being done right here. PoE follows up and finds Mickey.
and tracked Hobby in this fight. He is dealing damage to the key targets as often as he can. He hits Power of Evil right at the end there. Now Mickey, he's being caught out.
Misfits not going to force a fight in the pinch, though. They know better than to take that risk against the Victor, take that risk against the AoE. You saw in damage graphic how much he can do in those clustered situations. But still, things very heavily in the favor of Misfits, and Splyce need to find something, and fast, because a Baron blow this game even further in the favor of them.
The biggest problem for Splyce now is just the sheer discrepancy in value that both these top laners are providing. Wonder was barely in that fight at all, but even if he was, I don't know if it would have significantly changed the fight in a way that would have resulted in a fight win for Splyce. He is at such a massive deficit that Alphari's value is effectively making this always a 5 versus 4 every time these two teams collide.
Yeah, Power Evil's roam early, combined with Kacao's pressure, have put Splyce's top side of the map at a 0-7. And now it's only Mickey, the man in the bot lane, who can get even any information on what's going on with Nashor.
Trashy, what can you do? Leap into the air, come down, 4K health still up and available. Trying to get damage down on the Kabi, but he's alive for now. Hansama has slain Mickey X. Senkuk's trying to get out what he can on the backside, but this is disaster for the side of Splyce. Kabi holding on as long as he can, but here comes PoE. Oh no, Kabi, that's not what you want. Taken down, knocked out, and Senkuk's holding on, but at the end of the day, Misfits 3 for 0.
And this is exactly what the Misfits wants. Another few kills on the board. All they need to do is eventually get this Nashor before this Victor on Senkuk scales up to another item. Now PoE's going in with Stan United.
Forward, has the all flash over the wall. Gravity field, it doesn't matter. The chain's complete. Down goes the mid laner.
And only Wonder is left alive. Misfits were down 2 games in this series, and now they are 1 Baron away and 1 win away from securing a spot at Hamburg.
Right now, it's just absolute dominance from the side of Misfits. Splyce grasping at straws to find a way back in. And we look at this. This is...
Yeah, it's 5-man ulti from Wonder, from Mickey here. Hits literally everybody 4 except Power of Evil.
Wonder's going back to base. He's not even TPing into this fight. Splyce, they're at a 4v5 throughout the entire duration. When we were talking earlier on about the value that Alphari offers versus what Wonder offers, I wasn't talking in a literal sense 5 versus 4, but the fact that Misfits were able to make it happen in that power, he's off hunting again.
Wonder did no damage in the last team fight. If there's a fight here, he may not do any damage either. Power of Evil playing with his food.
The accuracy on these chains, though,
That was
very
beautiful.
commendable. This guy is playing a mean LeBlanc here, 8-1-4. 12 out of 15 kills he is involved. What a major mark he has on this series, especially considering how games 1 and 2 went down. Almost no pressure, never allowed to leave his lane. It's that early gank from Kakao as well. He visits mid, Kakao give it, and then Power of Evil take it away. He goes top lane, takes all the credit.
8-1-4. In solo queue, the game would already be over.
This is where you get silent, you don't say anything, you queue up again, and the first thing you do is just ban LeBlanc.
I mean, what else is there? No chance, however, to adjust the pick and ban for next game for Splyce. It's all or nothing here.
Yeah, the next game they're banning LeBlanc is the first game in summer. The way continues right here.
And just to inform people, in the event that Misfits are able to get themselves a reverse sweep, they will be going up against the Unicorns of Love. They cannot face G2 regardless of the outcome, and so they will be meeting the Unicorns in the semi-final. So exciting, possible future matchup, but for the time being, Misfits still need to close things out. 35 minutes. Baron is in the favor of Misfits. 10,000 gold lead, and they're looking to get themselves that reverse sweep.
Double Fernals as well. Gentlemen, this is grim for the side of Splyce. Maybe if all 5 members group up, Senkuk's, Wonder, everything can just get the damage on that stack of 5, maybe they can get something. But that is grasping at straws at this point.
Base falling to shambles. PoE constantly supported by his team here. He's dashing in, getting a major ultimate down every single time. He did it with Wonder 2, dash in, get the cannon ulti, dash back, and then finish him off. Very mobile build. He's actually sitting on this NLR that he built earlier. Finished the Void Staff, and now he's going for Zonias, but that doesn't build that way anymore.
An oops, I guess.
We call this the bits and
It's something that
pieces.
you do all the time, right? But regardless, he's still pretty strong.
Just like, I want a really large rod. Done. Alright, let's go next.
Really hoping to find a pick onto Igno, but PoE comes over the wall looking to pop Senkuk before the fight can even start. Barrier keeps him healthy for now, but not enough. A pick onto Mickey, and Misfits are pushing into the base.
Pushing into the base here, another chain trash. He has to flash out. Kobe is so low. This could be the final breaking point for Splyce.
Now moving for more. Misfits hungry to get something here. Can they grab yet another inhibitor? How far he stopped in his tracks. Splyce desperate to get anything back. A second inhibitor now set to fall.
One inhibitor now remains in the way of Misfits, but they've decided that they don't want to greed. They're going to take this slow. With the advantages that they've gained, they're going to go back to base. There's only one lane left for them to play in. They could even pick themselves up the Elder Dragon to just add insult to injury. But Splyce, things are looking dire.
Just continues to get more and more grim. But if you're a fan of Misfits, this is everything you want. An emotional roller coaster of a series.
And you can see this is just Splyce desperation play at this point in time. They know they have to try something with the Baron, with the strong, or with the massive gold lead that Misfits have. You just have to make some kind of a play happen. You hope for the best. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for Splyce.
Yeah, these teams, they arrived in the studio more than 8 hours ago to get ready for this match. They started playing this match 7.5 hours ago. And it looked so swift and so easy for Splyce to take it home. And after a gruesome Game 3, the momentum slowly started shifting to Misfits, and it never gave up here.
But you can't take anything away from Misfits, right?
No.
These guys just came out of their shell.
They deserve
First two games, they looked nervous, they looked uneasy, and now they could be going for that game-ending fight.
Now looking for a little bit more. PoE gonna use the Zhonya's moving forward. Mickey now set to fall. Kavi's still alive, but doesn't have a ton of mana here. Kakao on the backlines may get taken down. The team is split up. Misfits 4-man strong. However, Kakao is in trouble. Can they cancel the TP before the Shen gets in? Wonder. No! Blocking the damage. Wonder, no! Gets taken.
He lives!
What an outplay! Now moving for more. The shutdown. Senkung's running for his life. PoE playing with his food. Dishes out the damage. It's the double for Hansama, and it might just be the game for Misfits.
4 kills to 1 go in the favor of Misfits, and they, ladies and gentlemen, are gonna take the series.
Moving forward, TP comes in. It's all too easy for Misfits. Coming in from Challenger to top 4 in the LCS to down in the dumps in a slump. They find themselves a win here with the reverse sweeps, and they punch their tickets to Hamburg.
What a long day for both these teams, but in the end, it's Misfits that walk away with the victory.
Relieved faces rather than excited ones. It was a hard-fought series, and while they certainly are happy, both teams worked so hard. That series could have gone either way.
Both teams. Ooh, out of voice. Both teams. Investing very...
Play their hearts out. Definitely have to commend Splyce for game 1 and 2.
Hey, that wasn't what I need. All right. Investing in the early game, taking risks on early game picks, but making it work. Came
I
down
definitely agree.
No, here, I did not see Misfits bouncing back from this first game. What an impressive turnaround.
I thought that the experience, the play style from Splyce just seemed to be on another level to Misfits, but then they changed up their draft, they identified the issues, and they came back strong.
And at the end of the day, I mean, just insane mental fortitude, a team that continues to impress us, continues to rise up. In the first few weeks, we thought, they're good, but they have some weaknesses. Middle of the season, they were great. Then they were slumping, and now I'm not sure what to think about the Misfits. They're a team that just keeps showing us new things.
They bought themselves another week. They have clear issues still in their team, but it's fine. As long as you can work through them and still get the win, that's all that matters here. And they achieved their goal for the seasons. Misfits as an organization have come out and said that they want to become a team that can vie or even secure that top 3 in Europe and go to Worlds. Well, a top 4 in Spring Split is well on track to achieve that goal.
Bear in mind, points are still an important thing when it comes to the end of the season. Being able to finish top 4 will contribute heavily towards that World's goal at the end of the year. But that's a 4-4 towards the future. Unicorns of Love will be their next opponent. And will definitely be a big obstacle to overcome. And while Splyce may be an early game team, their mid game will certainly be challenged by the boys in pink.
At the end of the day, it's, I mean, just what a series. Cannot say it enough how great this team has performed, and the future for them looks so bright. They said they wanted top 4 this season. Well, they've got it We'll see if they can take it even further. Can they make their way to the finals? Can they take down Unicorns of Love, a team who has surged this season, I think we can safely say, to secure first place in their group, building a new roster of their own and making a massive impact.
Yeah, hanging out on stage right now with the coaching staff. And Hiva, their substitute. I believe that's him.
Is indeed Hiva.
Yeah.
And this is only our first quarterfinal. We still have another one tomorrow between H2K and Fnatic.
I'm glad I'm not casting because my knees are shattered. Best of 5 here. I love the little smiles on like Kakao. And just Hansama must be happy, so happy as well. I mean, this guy coming in like so young. First season, like everybody's like on the Hansama hype train, has to deliver. Has to be so much pressure. And I think he definitely was it game 3 where he didn't die a single time. Game 4 he died only once. This guy definitely plays in the shadows of some of these big names here, but definitely delivers consistently.
Kalista, the Varus, consistent performances overall for this guy. It's just, I mean, it's a really good look for the bot lane right now in Misfits when we weren't always sure if Hansama was going to be a top-tier AD carry, and he may not be there yet, but these were some fantastic performances.
Ignar as well, a really big part of the success of Hansama too. The fact that they played with so much trust with each other, something that we talked a lot about when he did bring out the Thresh, always reliant on his AD carry to be there to support him. And I think that it was very enjoyable to watch.
Very, it's an admirable quality, an AD carry that actually pulls you into the ultimate without having to like ping spam 5 times in the right chat. Like,
knows, understands.
Someone who always takes the lantern. Yeah. You know they'll take it.
Yeah, you only have to throw it. It takes a second.
All right, gentlemen. With our first quarterfinal settled here in Europe, things are heating up over in Los Angeles with the first NALCF playoff between Phoenix 1 and Dignitas kicking off in just a few minutes. Be sure to check that out. But here in Berlin, of course, we have to celebrate our player of the series. I think no surprises here. Power of Evil. Man on a mission to bring his team back from the brink, and man, did he perform.
Yep, 6 Spheres and 2 Chains is all it took for PoE to start carrying out this series.
And it's the fact that he was allowed to play his style. He could roam around the map, move with his jungle, set up his other laners for success, really snowballed the early game leads they were so well known for during the early and middle parts of the season.
Really, when we look at it, too, I just feel like the LeBlanc play was good. When he got it back on the Syndra, we're like, this is going to be the pick that he shines on. But continuing to show us new things, show us the depth of this champion pool when we have been skeptical in the past, it's a good look for him overall. But Misfits are ready for the semifinals after a great comeback against Splyce. Stress, you have some very happy Misfits members right now. Why don't we hear what they have to say?
I absolutely do have some very happy Misfits. We'll start with the player of the series himself. LeBlanc, in a couple of games there, looking great for yourself. Talk us through it. What did it mean to you to get such a carry champion and such a lead in games 4 and 5 especially?
Well, I'm really grateful that my top laner Alfari went Chen like every game. So I had a really nice time playing either side lane or just casually farming mid lane, since I can always jump in, I can play not scared at all, and I can always count on either shield only or on the Shen arriving for me.
I want to talk to the top lane a little bit about that Shen as well. Alfari, your first split here in the LCS. Not only are you in playoffs, you're now in the semi-finals, guaranteed an appearance at either Hamburg days that we have. What does that mean to you as quite a new player that people have talked about for so much, to be able to maybe prove yourself already in your first split?
I mean, I don't know how much I'm proving myself when I'm playing 4 games of Shen, but it obviously still feels really great, even if my teammates do carry me. So yeah, it feels really good.
But is that not your decision at all to play Shen in a series like this?
I mean, Shen is really strong, and obviously if you have like a long one trick as well, then it works really good too. But it's mainly the coach's decision.
You guys didn't quite catch it at home, but Power of Evil saying it's him that's the decider. So how much influence do you, as a veteran player, have on this pick and ban phase in such important games?
Well, obviously we decide as a team, and Hussein, our coach, helps us in drafts. I think we kind of adapted probably one of our best series in a long time, since we kind of felt that the first 2 games we didn't have enough midline priority. We kind of changed it around, since we always catch the wave, and they played really, really good around Senkooks, getting on the Syndra the priority. So we just felt like, okay, we take the Shen and we take Syndra, LeBlanc, champions that can easily fight 1v1s and 2v2s. And I was really confident that I can win a 1v1 and I can win with Kakao the 2v2 jungle mid lane matchup. So obviously combined with the Shen ultimate, we just completely changed our drafts to like a really, really aggressive style. And I think it worked out really, really good. And that's why we kept it from game 3 to game 4 to game 5.
Certainly looked like it worked out. That was the key turning point for you guys. Alfari, was there anything as a new player that Hussein or maybe Pao was saying to you after game 2 where you're 0-2 down, your first experience now with a reverse sweep? Any advice that you got from the rest of the team that kept your head in the game?
No, like everyone's just taking it seriously. We know that we can still win. Like both these games were kind of close, and we just had like pretty fixable mistakes, which we just needed to execute on. So we were all feeling confident, even though we were 0-2 down. We just needed to play properly, which we did.
Well, it all worked out well at the end of the series. Power, you looked like you wanted to add.
I think it was really surprising, since even tough we have a lot of rookies. Everyone was really sure that we can still win, and like we spoke as a team. We're like, guys, we can still win. Just all try hard, and the games are close. And everyone was literally really positive. It's really, I would say, surprisingly for a new team and for like so many new players, and as a team just coming together, I think it was really great.
Good to hear you talk about your new team. We have to talk about perhaps your first professional team, the Unicorns of Love. Now your opponents in the semi-finals. What's your thoughts going into such a big matchup against a group of friends, former teammates, former coaches?
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Against Unicorns of Love, it's always a bloodbath. So when I faced them in Origin, when I played in their team, and I think last time we faced them with Misfits, it was the same. It was just like crazy amount of kills, and I think well as a team that will never not try to come back, so they will always try their hardest and pull their hearts out. So I think it's going to be really close and going to be a lot of fun, I think, especially for me.
And especially for the viewers as well. That's going to be a great series next week. Before we get to the NALCS, we've got one last thing to do, and that's get right into the post-game lobby.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stress, and indeed welcome everybody to the post-game lobby. And as said, the NALCS is also going to kick off with Phoenix One versus Dignitas in their playoff starts. But we are going to talk a bit about our first quarterfinal we saw here. The Misfits, they came back after being 2-0 down to take the series in a reverse sweep. Love it. The first playoff series, and immediately we have a reverse sweep. And we can kind of tell the story of the games through this one, because Splyce, they started off, they won 2 games in a row. They seemed like they had all the cards in their favor.
Yeah, 2 games where they had Syndra, Senkux was doing really well, Wonder was winning his lanes, Kennen wasn't picked, you know, it was like, hey, Splyce, you are actually playing fantastic. And obviously from watching it here with you guys, Maxwell was already calling 3-0 straight away, and he was like, there's no way they're coming back.
That was you, by the way.
And then obviously the more experienced broadcast members in Sharks and myself were more like, hey, it will turn around. Splyce will start picking Kennen, and they will lose. Right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I learned a lot from you, the Fisher, this on the success here.
No problem.
We don't have to talk about the Fisher. Yeah. Let's talk about the teams at hand. Splyce,
I'm not MVP?
Splyce, indeed. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? Splyce is on match point, Maxor, but Misfits, as they said in the interview as well, they do something different. They choose that Kalista, that Thresh, they have the Syndra, and it all works out.
Yeah, they solved the biggest problem, obstacle in this series, which was the Syndra. And they also, like, I don't know whether they knew that Kobe would be forced into playing Kennen here, but Kobe played Kennen, and it really didn't work out this series. But the Thresh Kalista really worked well in combination with the Syndra, and their drafts just got better and better throughout the series. They made small mistakes, but right here they have such a great composition, and the next game also they had an answer for Syndra, which apparently Splyce did not, so they were forced into picking Syndra. And it just turned into the PoE show,
really. The PoE popped off. Unbelievable.
I mean, insane to watch him play LeBlanc in this series here, the last 2 games. He completely carried the game 4 and 1v9 game 5. Yeah. Like, he was roaming, he was getting kills, top lane, bot lane, everywhere. He just sacrificed a few CS a few times, and that was it.
It was full Jaden Smith. You can't lose lane if you're not in lane.
You definitely can't. But you can definitely win the game without being in lane, because that's what he showed. And I think, again, Power of Evil, he's such an interesting character because he's now been in the ELCS for quite a few years. And I think still a lot of people are, maybe they don't 100% know what kind of player he is, or he's
and let's be honest here, even us last year and even in the beginning of this, we were wondering, is he going to show up? What does he have in the tank? And it just shows how, and this is what Hussein also talked about, just they have everything in place to have a long-lasting kind of project with the Misfits.
The original Power of Evil and Unicorns of Love, where he was set up to carry, played games like this when it really mattered. That was why Unicorns of Love back then in 2015 made it all the way to the final. you know, with him as the main carry. The last 2 games, he took that role again. They trusted him with the LeBlanc pick, that Shen ulti to support him. Alfari had to admit it wasn't his pick, you know, but the coach is like, just pick Shen. And I really like seeing that Power of Evil again play, like a guy we didn't see last year on Origin. And it's just fantastic to see when he actually shines.
Yeah, Max, it is really nice to see actually how a player who you've probably thought not too much of last year, even when he was playing, how he can completely turn it around in what is so fast moving, and you have to deliver every single week, and he seems to really have found this kind of groove.
Yeah, he definitely this series has shown up. Let's say like the past few weeks in LCS, he was slacking a bit. Like he picked Vladimir and it didn't go well and stuff like this. But now I guess when it really matters, practice time is over, warm up is over. Let's try hard and. I guess Power of Evil delivered at the end of the day.
Definitely. We talk a lot about Power of Evil. Obviously, you mentioned Alfari, and everyone kind of pulled their weight. And I think as a team, they came together and they turned it around. And let's take a look at, if we take a step back, at both teams and kind of what was possibly to lose and to gain here. If we look at the side of Misfits, they said, well, we want to get top 4. But on the other hand, we also had the thought of like, hey, they are a challenger team. This is their first split. So if they don't make that top 4, so be it. But on the side of Splyce, this is a Worlds team, yes, the results are whatever. This is a finalist of Summer who I think are going to take this loss very, very hard, and definitely the manner in which.
Yes, when you're 2-0 up in a series, you feel like everything is working. You go into game 3, you lose. It's a hiccup, don't worry, guys. We can bounce back. You lose the next one, and then we saw the player cams. Like the players were just kind of not choking or tilting specifically, but like they were down. They were so far down whenever they felt behind, and it really sucks to be Splyce, because I think in many ways people are now going to say, yeah, Splyce are just showing how weak EULCS were last split. That's why they made Worlds, seeing as they can't perform this split. But I think it's different. I think Splyce was a really good team last split. I think they're still having some good moments here and there this split, but I think they actually look just overall weaker. There have been some issues internally they obviously need to work through, and that's probably what they need to use the off-season for, because it is a more competitive split, but Splyce is also playing worse than they did last spring.
And let's not forget, they were in the promotion tournament at the end of spring last year, right? And they still found their way back on the up, so maybe that's something that they can hang on to. I do have to say, if we had a stubbornness trophy for coaches, which belonged to Prolly after not banning Gnar in game 5 of the gauntlet last year, it is damn well going to the coach or the team or whoever made the decision, I think, to tunnel on that cannon so much, or is that a bit too harsh?
I think it's definitely, there's no one person to blame. It's a team thing. Like, you should know that if your AD carry picks Cannon, or just generally see throughout the series that Cannon is kind of useless, you should say, okay, guys, let's not pick Cannon. Maybe it was a scrim champ, but on stage, it's clearly not working out. And someone should have just said it without any hard feelings, and they should have just stopped playing that champ, play what they normally play, like the Ezreal in the game earlier. Even the Lucian in this game looked pretty good. Just play something normal for Kobe, because he is a good AD carry. He can carry, and yeah, if they did this earlier without losing those games earlier on Cannon, they would have won the series probably. Yeah,
I love the Lucian point. We saw it in the last game here. Actually, some really sick moves from Copy. Early game also getting early kills. His team fights were pretty good. So it's kind of odd that he was just plugged into this champion, because Cannon lost lane in every game. Now, obviously, that is also due to support picks, but also giving over S-tier picks like Varus, Lulu, which is obviously a very, very strong lane that's hard to play against. And that's where, in some way, it felt like Splyce didn't really respect what the Misfits bot lane could do if they had a winning matchup. Yeah. And I think that's a massive strength and positive for Misfits, is that they won this series without Kakao having to really shine. Kakao didn't have to make big plays. We talked about this coming into it with the Lee Sin. It was banned in every game.
So if he can't or not, we don't know, but he didn't have to.
He didn't really have to. It was Power of Evil, it was the bot lane, and it was good Shen play from Alfari. Those were the main reasons Misfits actually bounced back and won, and not a 1v9 situation for Kakao.
And that is what makes me very hopeful about the run that Misfits could go on. Let's take a look, because after that win, their next challenge on the road to finals has been locked in. The Misfits are for sure going to be going up against the Unicorns of Love, and that means that the winner of H2K and Fnatic is going to be going up against G2. And first up about that Misfits Unicorns of Love series, without going too deep into the micro of it, when we look at Misfits, they said for themselves, if it's true or not, we want top 4 at least. They have it. Plus, they have showed that they can turn around an 0-2, put it all on the line, and come back and win 3-2 against Splyce, who, in your eyes, were the stronger team in this matchup. I feel like they can be unleashed now, and they can show us a lot in the playoffs going forward.
This series definitely showed the, let's say, mental strength of Misfits, as well as the attitude they have. Some teams might get triggered or like be down after losing 2-0. But they seem to keep it together. They didn't think the first game was a fluke. They kept the upswing and they won at the end of the day. So I think mentality-wise against Unicorns, if they go 0-2 down, it's not going to affect them. It's purely going to be based on how they play.
Yeah, and also just a sign on the wall, Splyce, after losing even that one game, they looked absolutely destroyed.
Completely.
And then after losing that second one, I don't think I've ever seen them that way in between games. So yeah, definitely something for them to work on. And great for the Misfits, but there's still one more semi-final spot up for grabs. Fnatic and H2K, they are ready to fight for that last ticket to Hamburg. Our broadcast tomorrow begins at 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time. Don't be late for that, because they now know that they get to go up against G2 if they win. So yay.
Great, you know,
Awesome.
exactly what you want. H2K's own fault, obviously, for the last few weeks, their performance.
Great.
Fnatic are just happy to be in playoffs. They don't care who they face in the semi-final, as long as they make a semi-final.
Kennen every game.
Just, you know, pick... Kennen is so banned tomorrow.
Yeah, it will be.
Because Reckless is allowed to play Kennen, everyone. We're not saying Reckless is not allowed to play Kennen. No one else. Just Reckless.
Yeah, we're not going to go just yet, so I want to get your quick thoughts on that quarterfinal tomorrow. Maxor, H2K, obviously the last couple of weeks not in prime form, but they at least beat Splyce last week, so hey. And then Fnatic, obviously, sadly for you guys, making it and showing kind of the power to power through and get to that quarterfinal. So how do you think it's going to play out? Sorry, I'm a bit...
It's fine. I think H2K on 9, like maybe 7 or 8 out of 10 times will win, but it could be tomorrow like Fnatic's time to shine. They could bring out off-meta picks like Kayle or off-meta strategies that people just aren't used to, like the Kennen, which Splyce tried to replicate, however it didn't work. They could bring out the Kennen, different AD carry pick, Fiddlestick support. I think Fnatic, if they play their own style and with their niche picks and not stick to the meta, they could actually win against H2K.
Oh, I don't think I've heard that from a lot of people going into this one.
Yeah, I'm concerned for Fnatic going into that series, because I think Fnatic have now shown a lot of their comfort picks, and their draft is based around comfort. That's why you see like a first rotation literally just going Shen, Lee Sin, Kennen. Yeah. All the way down. Like Shen is the number one pick in top lane, Lee Sin is the number 1 pick in jungle, and Kennen is the number 1 in AD carry for them. And I think in a best of 5, H2K has the freedom, especially in the first few games, to just get rid of those picks. Or 2 of them maybe, and then pick the other one. Just make sure they have something completely prepared against specifically those guys. Reckless has been the main playmaker. H2K has had now a week to watch the VODs, study the pick and ban phase, and come up with a plan. And I think Fnatic's style was the correct one coming into, you know, the last 2 weeks of LCS. They needed something. They didn't win as a team. They needed to just play like this individual skirmish style, a lot punish mistakes. I respect that. I just do not think it's enough to beat H2K, because it relies too much on comfort picks that can be banned.
Yeah, that's a great point, because H2K has the comfort to have a lot of picks that they can craft their plan around, and they've known what Fnatic's done.
They can play everything.
But Fnatic has not necessarily got other pages in their playbook as far as picks go.
Maybe they showed him. Yeah. And that's the cool thing, you know. We can sit here and say draft should be in favor of H2K, then Fnatic comes in with some prepared strategies, and they might surprise everyone, and they take a few wins.
Yeah. How do you think, you said that there is a bigger chance than we think for Fnatic, so what is kind of your main in for them in the series tomorrow? Or a player that you're looking at?
I think it's mainly to do with draft between H2K and Fnatic. There are clear weaknesses in some of Fnatic's players and their champ pools, but they've had a week to fix on that, so maybe it will change. I definitely think that it's really like a reckless show, let's say, if he's able to pull out on one of these 1-3-1 champs like Lucian and Kennen. I was about to say reckless for Kennen, but yeah, Lucian and Kennen, that he can kind of just style on kids on the side lane. And he's a smart player, so he definitely knows how to carry in that sense. But most probably H2K will win.
All right, well, we will see what happens tomorrow. Maxor, thank you so much for joining us today with your great analysis for the full 5 games. Thank you, Martin, as well. We had a great first quarterfinal, but that will do it from us here in Berlin. Thank you guys so much for watching. There's a lot more playoff action to come as we continue down the road to Hamburg and the Spring Championship. Good night.
Fastest way to go home is just quick 0-3, just run it down mid.
This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is game 1. Let's get it going. Moving in, moving forward. Alfari gets another top power. Beetle comes over the wall. That's a lot of damage. Senkux goes down. In comes the cannon. The fight is kicking off, but Copy's alive. Copy's healthy. Crow Storm comes out. This is Here's the turn from Splyce. Alfari's hitting the back line, but nobody cares. 3 members strong, focusing their sights on the Nexus, and that's going to be game 1 for Splyce. Will Splyce advance to match point? Can Misfits strike back? We'll find out here. Kakao going to take him down, but here comes Sentux. Maybe looking for a hero play. Moves forward. Kakao still so low. Out comes the ultimate.
He's looking for both of them.
The Master Chefs may be coming out, but they've got their eyes on a different prize. Moving in. Hansama still alive for now, but does get taken down. Trashy, oh, so low, but PoE gets pocket pistol. And Wonder, he sets it up. He knocks it down. It's going to be the 2-0 for Splyce. Game 3, pressure mounting for the side of Misfits. Let's see what they can do with their backs up against the wall. Now running for their lives. Splyce are in trouble. Misfits looking to bring it back. PoE not going to get taken down in the end. He's still up. He's still alive. Here they will find game 3 in the series. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. Series points still up for Splyce. Can Misfits continue the reverse sweep? Can they bring it back here? We will find out. Splyce, are you going to take this fight or are you going to run? You may not have a choice. In goes the engage. Trashy going to get caught up. Trashy getting taken down. There goes the jungler. They're looking for a little bit more. Arrow connects. Mickey gets forward. Knocked up. Not going to be enough. Alfari's on the front lines. Misfits from 2-0 against them to 2-2 and a game 5.
One of these teams go to Hamburg. One of these teams go home. And it's all come down to this. 5 games between Misfits and Splyce.
Actually, what can you do? Leap into the air, come down. 4K health still up and available. Trying to get damage done on the Kabi, but he's alive for now. Hansama has slain Mickey X. Senkuk's trying to get out what he can on the backside, but this is disaster for the side of Splyce. Kabi holding on as long as he can, but here comes PoE. Oh no, Kabi, that's not what you want. Taken down, knocked out, and Senkuk's holding on, but at the end of the day, Misfits 3 for 0. Now looking for a little bit more. PoE gonna use the Zhonya's moving forward. Mickey now set to fall. Kabi still alive, but doesn't have a ton of mana here. Kakao on the backlines may get taken down. The team is split up. Misfits 4-man strong. However, Kakao is in trouble. Can they cancel the TP before the Shen gets in? Wonder. Blocking the damage. Wonder, no! Gets taken. He lives! What an outplay! Coming in from Challenger to top 4 in the LCS to down in the dumps in a slump. They find themselves a win here with the reverse sweeps, and they punch their tickets to Hamburg.